Hi, folks. It's Elaine Fraze, Farm Family Coach, coming to you today to talk about common interests and how that can help you as you're writing up agreements. So behind me on my flip chart here, I just want to show you the top where it says positions, and we got two people, one person on this side, one person on this side, and everything above the line is what you can see, what is seen. But what is unseen is like having these two icebergs underneath, and where they meet down here, it's called where the meeting of the wants and needs becomes common. And those are called common interests. So I just like to think about what kind of things are happening in your farm family or your advisor practice right now, where people are just not coming to resolution. They're taking positions, they're above the water here, and they're talking or they're sending messages and emails and texts, but they're not coming together to say, what is it we both want? So there's a very strong desire. I just got an email that was sent at 2:00 in the morning to me from a dairy farmer, and looking for a strong desire for everyone in the family to get along and to actually focus and execute and make things happen. So what does this mean in practice is that when you come together with common interests, you need to be respectful. You can't make assumptions, and there has to be action. Talk does not cook rice. So the biggest problem I always say in agriculture is procrastination and avoidance of conflict. So once you come to the table to talk about what you want, then you can see what is it you both want or everyone wants, and typically that's family harmony. So one of the practical tools that you can use in this vein is to have a family code of conduct. So there's one that I just put in this article that you can read, where you're straight up with people. We take time to listen. We stick to reality. We seek mutual resolution to conflict, which is finding a conflict, common interest. We are honest. We do what we say and we'll do, which means we're reliable. We're not going to be late or flip off even coming to the meetings to make these decisions. We're going to have a culture of learning from your mistakes, and there's no blame or shame or judgment. And we want to anticipate what everybody wants for the future vision of the farm. And we want to have fun together as a family, and enhance the family system by being a strong family that communicates, connects with community and celebrates. And we want to embrace technology. And, Flipcharts pretty old school. You could use a whiteboard or even do a Zoom meeting and share your screen. But it's important to come to the common ground of the family won't stop loving each other because of the business. And so if that's your code of conduct, then you go back to that, and that's how you want to show up to talk about these common interests. Now, the other thing is that another point of conflict is typically profitability of the farm. How many people can this farm support? And what is excellent compensation for the work that's being done? So does the farm serve the family, or does the family serve the business? And I often talk about the farm becoming a monster, and you don't want your farm to be a monster. You want your farm to serve the family. And other advisors will say, well, it's all about the business. Yes, you want to make good business decisions, but you have to have the passion and the purpose and the oomph and the energy. And rather than just worrying about your return on investment for the business side, what's your return on energy? And with conflict, what happens is you get distracted management, because it sucks the energy out of you where you should be spending that energy on managing a good farm. And rather, you're just got all this internal turmoil going on because you haven't been able to come to understand what other people want and haven't been able to figure out a plan on how to do that. So one of the tools that you can use as a helpful agreement would be an operating agreement. And Dick Whitman calls this professionalizing your farm. And when we first started farming with my husband's family, the split was 60% to the parents and 40% to us. And then as we became more and more involved and they depended on us for more and more management, particularly my husband, of course, then it became 50-50. And then that magical day in 1992, when we purchased their assets, then it became 100% ours. The other thing you want to do is create a clear timeline. And this is what was the frustration of the email that I got this morning, is because there's the expectation that assets of this farm are going to be transferred upon death. But that's not helpful if the younger generation, the next gen, doesn't have any kind of equity position, is waiting for the parents to die. And that's why you need to think about another flip chart thing that I've drawn, which is the farm assets on the left-hand side, the personal assets on the right-hand side, and you need to think about where are your income streams going to go, because it's not really about who owns corporate land and who owns personal land. The deeper issue is, where is the money coming from to pay our groceries and keep us in a lifestyle that we can afford and desire as we're stepping back without stepping away, if we're the parents, and for the next generation leaning in as the next gen and wondering how much money will they have to service debt. So this is where buy-sell agreements come in handy, and having a clear plan for how much of the equity or what part of the farm assets the next gen can buy now. And newsflash, if the next gen has a mortgage on some land or some equipment or another asset, then that creates income stream for the founders, for the parents. Another agreement which causes lots of flare-ups of tension are interspousal agreements, what lawyers are now calling interspousal agreements, what we used to call prenups. They can also be cohabitation agreements or a marriage contract. There's many different names for them, but the idea, the common interest, is that the assets of the farm are protected against the risk of a marriage breaking down and divorce happening. So shifting your mindset from, oh, I could never do that, to, well, sounds like a good risk management tool, is a good idea to figure that out. So this is not just an exercise for newlyweds. It can also be an exercise for the founders. And I have clients who, as part of their unanimous shareholders agreement, it states every shareholder will have an interspousal agreement marriage contract because they want to protect against divorce on the farm. So some of you are saying, well, handshakes are still good around here. Well, not really, because land lease agreements, rental agreements for land need to be in writing, because guess what? Landlords die unexpectedly. And not only that, the tenants could be dying as well or be incapacitated. And so you want to be really clear. And then you also have a good history in writing as to what the rent was that was actually paid. And then, of course, another directive agreement that's helpful as we age is healthcare directives. And when my mother died, she didn't have a clear healthcare directive. I knew her wishes would be to donate her organs and anything that was good from her body as she passed to, she could have helped 7 other people. But unfortunately, that didn't happen because a member of my family was really against that idea. And because I didn't have it in writing with my mom, then I couldn't bless with eyes and corneas and good livers and all those other good things for transplant, someone who was waiting for that transplant. So we all have regrets about agreements that haven't been signed, but we can't change anything since happened in yesterday's storybook. So we need to look forward. Counseling is about recovery to help you deal with the past, but coaching is about discovery and how you can move forward to use common interests and find out what everybody really wants to get these agreements done.